When we moved into the house, it felt like a dream come true. My wife, Claire, and I had been saving for years. A modest two-story home on the edge of town, surrounded by woods and far enough from the bustle of city life to feel like a retreat. The price was surprisingly low, but we didn't question it. We should have. Old houses have personality, she said, smiling as she unpacked another box. I wanted to believe her, so I shrugged it off and went to bed. But the sounds didn't stop. Over the next week, I began to hear whispers late at night, faint, unintelligible murmurs drifting through the walls. Claire claimed she didn't hear anything, but I knew I wasn't imagining it. I started leaving the lights on in the hallways and double checking that all the doors were locked before we went to bed. Still, the feeling that we weren't alone gnawed at me. One night I woke to a tapping noise, rhythmic, like someone drumming their fingers on wood. It was coming from the corner of the bedroom. I sat up, my heart pounding, and squinted into the darkness. The shadows seemed thicker there, almost alive. I reached over to shake Claire awake, but she groaned and rolled over, mumbling something about needing sleep. I grabbed the flashlight from the bedside table and pointed it toward the corner. Nothing, just an empty chair and the faint outline of our dresser. But the tapping stopped, as if whoever, whatever was making it knew I was watching. I didn't sleep much that night. Things escalated after that. Objects started moving. At first, it was small things, keys, pens, a coffee mug. I'd find them in places I was sure I hadn't left them. Then it got worse. One morning, I came downstairs to find all the chairs in the dining room stacked on the table, balanced precariously like some bizarre sculpture. Claire blamed it on me. You've been stressed, she said, her tone more worried than accusatory. Maybe you're sleepwalking. But I wasn't. I knew I wasn't. The breaking point came 2 weeks later. Claire was working late, so I was alone in the house. The whispers were louder that night, closer. I couldn't make out what they were saying, but the tone was sharp, angry. I decided to confront whatever it was. Maybe it was foolish, but fear has a way of making you irrational. Armed with a flashlight and a kitchen knife, I made my way through the house. The air felt heavy, like a storm was about to break. When I reached the basement door, the whisper stopped. The sudden silence was worse than the noise. My hand trembled as I turned the knob and opened the door. The stairs groaned under my weight as I descended. The beam of the flashlight flickered, casting erratic shadows on the concrete walls. At the bottom, the air was damp and cold. I scanned the room expecting to find ... something. But it was empty. Just the old furnace, some cobwebs, and a few boxes we hadn't unpacked yet. Then I saw it. A door I hadn't noticed before, partially hidden behind the furnace. It was small, barely 5 feet tall, and made of dark, weathered wood. My heart raced as I approached it. Every instinct screamed at me to turn back, but I couldn't. Something was pulling me toward it. The door wasn't locked. It creaked open to reveal a narrow passageway, the walls lined with rough stone. The smell hit me first, a mix of earth and decay. The whisper started again, louder now, echoing off the stone. I should have turned back, but I didn't. I couldn't. The passage led to a small circular room. In the center was a pit, about 3 feet wide, covered with a heavy iron grate. The whispers were deafening here, overlapping and frantic. I shone the flashlight into the pit, but the beam couldn't penetrate the darkness. It felt ... alive, as if it was staring back at me. Then the grate moved. It was subtle at first, a slight shift as if something beneath it was pushing up. I stumbled backward, nearly dropping the flashlight. The whispers turned to screams and I bolted, sprinting back through the passage and up the stairs. I slammed the basement door shut and locked it, though I doubted a flimsy lock would stop whatever was down there. When Clara came home, I tried to tell her what I'd found, but she didn't believe me. She thought I'd had a nightmare. I could see the concern in her eyes, the way she looked at me like I was losing my mind. I stopped trying to convince her after that. The following nights were worse. The whispers were everywhere, no longer confined to the walls. I could feel them brushing against my skin, cold and angry. The tapping returned, louder, and now accompanied by scratching, as if something was trying to claw its way into the house. Claire finally admitted she felt it too. She woke up one night screaming, swearing that someone had been standing at the foot of the bed, watching her. We decided to leave, but the house had other plans. The night we packed our bags, the power went out, the house plunged into darkness, and the whispers erupted into a cacophony of screams and laughter. Doors slammed shut on their own, and the temperature dropped so low that our breath fogged in the air. We tried to leave, but the front door wouldn't budge. It was as if the house was holding us captive.